Have you ever wondered why so many people manage to squeeze out so much out of their lives? They run successful businesses and also have a social life? Well, after months of experimenting and tweaking few things, I found 5 simple AI habits that will literally 10x your life. And in this video, I'm going to show you what they are, step by step, how you can implement them in your life, and probably you will rethink your daily routine. You know how most of us still instinctively reach out for Google whenever we have a problem to solve or a question. You don't really see how much time you're losing here. First, you open up your browser, you type in the question, then you scroll through the ads because the first pages are ads you don't want to read. Then you find your page, you scroll through it, you read a few paragraphs, you seem to not have found your question that you were looking for, so you go back, you look through other pages, and just like that, a few minutes have passed. That's not optimal, so I decided to rewire that instinct completely. At first, it felt really weird, like brushing your teeth with a non-dominant hand, but after a while, when I switched to ChatGPT for most of the answers, I noticed the difference. And I did that by doing these 2 tricks. So recently there was this customization feature implemented in iOS, and if I show it to you on my iPad, I've got the ChatGPT logo right here that if I click, it will prompt me to write the code, and I'm in the ChatGPT app ready to do some prompting. I also did that on my phone, and it just made me easier to reach for the AI. And I also recommend that you utilize the new Type to Siri feature if your device has Apple Intelligence, because Siri now most of the times will just ask ChatGPT for the answer instead of, just doing like I do not understand this question thing. And it makes it so much easier to reach for the AI, and you don't have to do the extra clicks of going into the app and clicking on a new chat and writing your question there. Studies show that it takes 21 days to form a new habit, but I feel like I did it in just a few, and if you're familiar with tech, you will probably do it easily too. So I hope you give it a try. I think this is a really cool way to get started with this whole switch to AI that is happening. Now, next up, I need you to realize one thing. There is not a single model that is just great at everything. There are tons of models out there from the major companies, and they all excel at different things. So here's a quick rundown of which model to choose for which tasks. So let's start with ChatGPT because it's the most popular one. The branding of it screams Apple, just literally an Apple version of AI. Don't mix it up with Apple Intelligence though, that sucks. And it's like the minimalistic, everyday use AI. But I found that it's the best for writing, and I especially like the GPT 4.5 model. It's got like these vibes, as you would call them. I really like it for that. It also has a wide range of tools for things like data analysis and graphs. It can also write code in this canvas mode, but I don't really like that. I prefer just code blocks. So, well, I have to get convinced for that. Leave the comment down below. What are the upsides of that? It's got also deep research, and it can handle complex tasks with these thinking models. But if I were to code, then I'm not entirely sure if ChatGPT has the edge here, because there's also Claude. Claude absolutely excels at things like coding and the agentic use. It's especially good in IDEs like Cursor or Windsurf. And if I were to choose a model for coding, then most of the cases it will be Claude. But if you're a developer, you already know that, so I'm not going to talk about that much longer. Also, Gemini from Google has been getting some attention recently because they're shipped quite good models recently. And at first I thought this is like the dumbed down version of ChatGPT. I didn't really like it. The responses felt like, it's like the model was just stupider, really. And it has changed recently. And there are tools like AI Studio from Google, which is a bit of a developer-focused UI, but it provides much better experience than the basic Gemini app that lives under the main Gemini domain. So I encourage you that you give it a try. You've got access to more tools there. For example, you have access to cheap deep research, and it's pretty much OpenAI quality, but it's free. You don't have to pay for a subscription to access that. And you also get the thinking model, the Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is amazing for coding. It even rivals Claude, and I've been pretty surprised with that. And you also have the ability to have the native search if you enable it in the sidebar, and you also have the ability to paste whole YouTube videos. That's just crazy. I was able to repurpose content so easily. Just paste the link from my YouTube video, bam, I've got the whole transcript ready and I can chat with this. It's amazing, and I encourage you that you give it a try. Oh, and I forgot, it's really cheap if you're building a product yourself, and if you want to use AI in your application, then I'd recommend using Gemini because it has the best prices. We also have Grok from xAI, and I honestly mostly use it for the lols. It's got these funny voice modes. I used it once to get motivation for the gym, and it was rough, I'm gonna be honest. Hey Grok, motivate me to go to the gym.
Who do you think you are, sitting around waiting for motivation to strike like a lightning bolt? Get off your ass and hit the gym. You've got more fight in you than this.
But the xAI team has also been shipping the Grok 3 model, which is supposedly good for coding, but I haven't tested it yet, and we're gonna have to see where that goes. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about DeepSeek because it's a bit hard to reach it. And yeah, those are the main models. So a quick rundown: ChatGPT, great for writing, brainstorming, and just all around things. So yeah, I said that there are not good models that do everything, but ChatGPT is the closest to like being good at writing and also at all these other things. We also have Claude, which excels at coding, and we have Gemini, which has cheap deep research and has these cool Google integrations, and Grok for the vibes. Next up, we've got to talk about a feature inside ChatGPT. Did you know that this thing remembers what you say and what you type to it? That's really cool, and I started to treat it like my personal second brain. You know, when I have an idea or some kind of a thought, I just dump it into ChatGPT and ask it to just elaborate on that, maybe try to criticize if something is wrong with this idea, try to give me some alternative angles. I even set up a project that I called Ideas or something like that. I put up some custom prompts to let it know better what I want to achieve with that, and it just roasts me every time. And then I can also query all of that data. Now we need to talk about prompting a bit, because this is pretty much the 90% of what you're going to do with AI, and great prompting is crucial. Most of my chats usually ended right after 2 messages. I asked a question, I got a prompt back, and I just went on with life and just didn't think about it much more later. And that's the worst way you can go about AI. It's meant for conversations because the whole UI is just, a big chatbot. So you need to dig deeper. If an AI gives you an explanation, you need to ask why this, why that, or can you elaborate? Just ask it questions about the topic, because you will learn so much more if you do that. And if you run out of questions, you can also just type in this prompt. What else should I ask you about this topic that is important and we haven't mentioned it yet? Remember, there is no shame. You're literally talking to an eternally patient computer algorithm. It won't judge you like a human will, so don't be afraid to do that. Now, this last one is a real time saver. So, did you know that an average human speaks about 150 words per minute, but only types 40 words per minute? So by speaking, you're already 3 times faster. So talk to your AI. At first, talking out loud to it felt really awkward, and it will probably feel really awkward to you. You're just talking to your robotic friend on your phone. You're going to be viewed as a weirdo, but trust me, it's worth it. One memorable moment I had with it was when I had this long project requirement thing, and I just read through it and asked it questions about small parts of the project, and it took like 3 to 5 minutes. But after that long chat, I was absolutely ready to just sit down and start coding it. It would have taken me like 10 to 15 minutes if I was just pasting parts of the text and asking questions on my computer, but I just spin up my phone and I went to the voice mode and I just talked about the project as if this was like my senior developer assistant, and it saved me so much time, and it already gave me this foundation to build the project. And yeah, I just learned more through that. I also remember during a recent trip I was in Rome and I thought, well, some of these things are written in Italian, there is this part in English, but it's not easily readable. So I just thought, well, let me just spin up ChatGPT and maybe share a photo with it and talk about what I'm looking at. And this was like having a private tour guide always available, and once again eternally patient, which is really cool. You can ask follow-up questions and you'll learn much more during your trips. And yeah, I think it's a great feature that they added it, and you should absolutely try voice mode the next time you use ChatGPT. So in the comments, I want you to let me know what your favorite AI habits are, and feel free to roast mine if you think I could do something better, and I'll catch you in the next one.